favorite chapters in the whole Bible. But in John chapter 11, it's actually the story about Lazarus being raised from the dead. But Jesus is talking, and he says something that really struck me. He says, you can go through a day without the fear of stumbling when you walk in the one who gives light to the world. But you will stumble when the light is not in you. Thank you. When my phone rings, it rings in my hearing aids, so nobody else hears it except for me, and Naomi happened to see it, but it's a little bit distracting. Anyway, I'm going to read that again. You can go through a day without the fear of stumbling when you walk in the one who gives light to the world. But you will stumble when the light is not in you, for you'll be walking in the dark. And that was a very profound verse to me, because I think we would all prefer not to stumble. But we often do stumble, and it's usually when we walk outside of the light and we get in a place of darkness that we end up stumbling and getting involved with things that we really would rather not do. And then there's another place that Jesus talks about that in the next chapter that I read, but another verse that I read that impacted me this morning, it says, the person who loves his life and pampers himself will miss true life. But the one who detaches his life from this world and abandons himself to me will find true life and enjoy it forever. So again, another very profound verse. If we love the things of the world, we're going to be stumbling, we're going to be struggling, and things like this. But if we detach ourselves from the things of the world, the consequence is, it says, you will find true life and enjoy it forever. So it's amazing to me how many times in scriptures God gives us like the answer for what we're really looking for, because we all want to enjoy true life and enjoy it forever. But we often get confused about what's going to bring us true life, what's going to bring us joy and happiness. And so Naomi and I had a rough patch on Friday night. I was up doing finances for the salon, and it got late, and Naomi had gone to bed already, and I'd finished kind of the salon stuff, and I was just looking at some other things on the internet, and something popped up that caught my eye, and I looked at it, and it was something I really shouldn't have been looking at. And Naomi got up to go to the bathroom, and the Holy Spirit said, go in and check on Rob. Well, I was looking at something, wasn't horrible, but something I shouldn't have been looking at. As soon as she walked in, I clicked it off. Well, that obviously, you do something like that in front of your wife, you're in trouble. And then I was startled. I didn't know what to say, and it just was a really, really awkward time. It was a challenge. It was a challenge for the next day for me to figure out what to do. And I obviously went and repented before the Lord and tried to ask Him, how do I get around that? And we're still, but what I didn't do is, I said I was sorry to her later that night, but I didn't really identify with the pain that I caused her as a wife that's looking to me to be the head of the household, that's looking to me to be the one that leads us in the ministry that we're doing, and yet I kind of betrayed her trust. And so it was a very difficult time, and I didn't really identify with the injury that I caused to Naomi until, it really wasn't until this morning I was able to ask her to really forgive me. I know this is kind of a weird thing to say at church, but I just feel like if I'm not honest with who I am and I'm not transparent with what goes on in my life, how can I expect anybody else to be willing to share? And so, but the point of all of that is, it really brought me back to, why do you vacillate between your commitment to the Lord and other things that the world has to offer? Because, as I just read, I can enjoy life forevermore if I stick with the things that God offers me and I walk in the light instead of falling into darkness. And so, Naomi and I are having some discussions about what triggers those things. What are the things that set you in motion? And, I forgot to set up that Mark Gungol series.
Yeah, but we got to do it.
We watched a little clip last week, and we're going to do a marriage time together. But, he talks about the differences between men and women, you know, and men tend to compartmentalize things, and they tend to have this nothing box. And sometimes you go into your nothing box, and it turns out there's actually trouble in your nothing box, you know, and you don't recognize that the nothing box, it means that there's no presence of the Lord in that box either, oftentimes. And so it's a box that can be filled with dangerous temptations. So anyway, I just want to encourage especially the men. You know, I think we don't realize the role we play as husbands in the unity of our marriage and actually the health of our marriage. And so I want to encourage us to really, you know, be open and accountable for what's going on in our lives and be able to look forward to readjusting the things that need to be readjusted in our lives. So I'm going to, that was a little sober, sorry. We're supposed to tell a joke maybe, I'm not sure.
But you want to share about Psalm 63 part of it?
Oh, sorry, yeah. So one of the worship songs we're going to do is Naomi found this Psalm 163. I don't know if who was here last week? Me. Yeah. I read Psalm 163.
No, 63.
What? 163?
No, 63.
63.
Oh, yeah, you're right. There is
Psalm
163. Psalm 63. Thank you. And I read Psalm 147 this week, and that was impactful too, so I got the 100s mixed up. But we're going to sing a song that is based on this, and the title of the psalm is Thirsting for God. And it starts out, "O God of my life, I'm lovesick for you in this weary place. I thirst for the deepest longings to love you more, with cravings in my heart that can't be described." And you know, if that was my heartbeat every day, 99% of the things that challenge me would go away. You know, if I was more in love with Jesus than anything else in the world, you know, life would have a completely different experience for me. And so, again, as we worship, it's a time to reconnect with God and with the Lord and with Jesus. We're also going to sing that song that we sang last week called Jesus Have It All. Hi, Rio. Just called you a few minutes ago. Glad to see you here. Anyway, Jesus Have It All. And it's like last year, the theme, I don't know where John Stickle's going, but last year the theme was by the end of the year, we look more like Jesus. And my heart cry is by the end of the year, Jesus has it all. This is a year of surrendering to Jesus everything so that he has all of me. And I think, you know, it's definitely the key to our marriage, it's the key to our ministry, but I think it's the key to everything that I really desire in life and it's so counter to what the world tells us. You know, how is surrendering your life going to lead you to anything positive? But that's the wisdom of the Lord is not the wisdom of man. You want to share anything, sir?
We'll just wait and see.
Okay.
All right, let's stand up and worship.
Oh, no, let's sit down and listen to John Stickle.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Accessibility shortcuts, 19 items, voice guide,
Sorry.
off,
Campus you're at, whether you're in Denton, Flower Mountain, Gainesville, Louisville, or on
close, button.